Good morning, everybody. Today is May 22nd. The time is 9 a.m. and I'm calling this Facilities Committee meeting to order. We have all members present and I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0, thank you. Action items. Motion to approve the open session meeting minutes.
Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0, thank you. Mr. McManus, door replacement bids at various locations.
Good morning, everyone. You have in front of you a memo showing that bids were received on May 9th, with one contractor submitting a bid for the door replacements. Monroe, Prospect, and Weddington Middle. Seven Oaks was the lowest bidder, and so staff requests the Board of Education to award the bid provided by Seven Oaks in the amount of $230,530.81. Sorry.
Does anyone have any questions?
Is this for interior doors, exterior doors, or what?
It's a combination. At Monroe High School, it's mainly interior doors with a couple of exterior doors, mainly located in the auxiliary gym area. Prospect is 24 exterior doors, and Weddington is exterior doors.
Okay.
If appropriate, I'll make a motion to recommend approval to the full board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0, thank you. CATA auditorium lighting upgrades.
Yes, in front of you, you have a memo. Bids were received on May 15th with one contractor submitting Excel Media Works in the amount of $399,980.51. Staff request Facilities Committee recommend to the full board approval and the total amount as mentioned.
Does this basically complete everything we needed to do with the lighting? Because I feel like it's been a couple different segments.
Correct. This is taking care of all the house lighting and the stage lighting at CATA Auditorium. So this will knock that out. Correct.
Okay.
So I would assume we're doing a little bit more than changing out the light bulbs.
Yes, it's fixtures and all. Correct.
Is it going to an LED type system from an incandescent or whatever the previous was?
Yes, the new lights are LED. Absolutely correct.
Okay. So they should have a much longer life than previous equipment and hopefully a little energy savings.
Correct.
And you've identified savings from other projects to cover the overage, since this is significantly over the budgeted amount.
Correct. It's coming out of the same FY24 building systems category.
Okay. Make a motion to recommend full approval to the full board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 4-0, thank you. Mr. Moore, subdivision moves, second reading.
Yes, good morning. At the April Facilities Committee meeting, we gave you a list of 19 project subdivisions that were recommended to be considered for reassignment. That was the first reading. That was approved, sent and approved by the Board of Education and at their May meeting. Today, we are proposing 10 of those 19 to move forward with a second reading. We have some additional information that we want to check into with our transportation department. We have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow afternoon to discuss that with them. But we're recommending that we move forward with asking the board or forwarding to the board for a second reading of these reassignments for these 10 subdivisions.
Okay.
So why are we moving forward with these 10 if we haven't talked to transportation?
We've talked to transportation. These 10 are not, don't have a concern with the transportation, with the logistics of the transportation. We want to do a little bit more digging in light of the staffing issues that we have with transportation and weighing that against over capacities at some of our schools. So we feel confident with these 10 that we can move forward, just to get ahead of any land sales or house sales at those 10 subdivisions.
Okay.
The 9 that we don't, the other 9 have not even been submitted to the county for a plat. So therefore you can't sell the property until it's platted. So we're several months off from having those properties purchased. So we're not in jeopardy of having those purchased before we reassign them.
Okay.
And just to
On,
make clear, this doesn't affect any current student, correct?
None of these subdivisions have been platted, which means the land has not been sold and a house has not been constructed. So yes, to answer your question.
On the Simpson Farms 2, I believe that's been renamed to Stewart's Crossing. So can we somehow indicate that on this memo?
We can. We'll if you're okay with it, we'll put a Simpson Farms 2 / Stewart's Crossing on the memo that goes to the Board of Education.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, at the second reading at the next board meeting, then that will be a final vote after a second reading to go ahead and move these, correct? That's the process?
Yes.
All right. If the board does approve the second reading, who do we inform of the change in attendance lines, taking into account these subdivision changes? Do we notify the municipality? We notify, of course, the schools. Clue me in on the process of informing about the changes if this is voted on by the board.
Mr. McManus, I'll let you weigh in on that, but yes, to answer your question, we will make the changes on our website for when you go in and you plug in an address, it will make the modification there. Our transportation department will be notified because they'll be making the routes differently. And Danny, can you answer as far as how we notify, if we notify any municipalities or how that works?
No, I'm unaware of notification of any municipalities in the past that I'm aware of.
Okay.
What you just said, Mr. Moore, was we update the maps, we update our website, so when properties do get sold, they put in the address and they see that where they're going.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Gary.
Well, I was just going to say that will happen almost immediately. I don't want anybody to come back to us, any home buyer, and say, well, my realtor didn't inform me of the change in this, or they had old information and somebody didn't bother to check that this attendance line was changed and are basically selling these homes under bad information. So I don't know how we inform. There's got to be some way we can inform the general public on these changes. I don't know who it would be.
Well, I mean,
So-
it's publicly going to be in our meeting.
Okay, so
And I mean, it's up to the builders to make sure that they've updated their information, because this is so early on that they should have plenty of time to make sure that they've got the correct info. Plus, it'll be in our system. So if you want to look up an address, it'll then tell you exactly what the correct information is.
okay. Well, it
That's
sounds like
usually what happens with the realtors. They will go onto our website and plug in the address to get verification, because if they have questions, they've typically called us for clarification.
Now, what's the time frame after the board votes at our June meeting for that information to be corrected in our system? Is that the next day, the next week? I'd like to see a follow-up to make sure that those changes are implemented in a timely fashion.
Danny, can you answer that as far as our website update? I think it's pretty quickly.
My understanding it is. I understand that the biggest thing is making sure the transportation is aware. Once they're aware of the new routes and where the new developments are going, then it's just a matter of getting on our website. But that's a quick process.
When you say these aren't plotted, does that mean there's a street address has not been assigned yet?
Correct.
Okay, so there's really nothing for us to change in the system until whoever, the postal service, whatever, assigns a street a number and the name to.
We'll drop the GIS coordinates in to our system to identify where the subdivision is. And then when it gets populated with an address at some point in the future, then it would pop up that it's zoned to a particular school.
It's going to be identified as soon as it's plotted, whether you have a Maple Street, 243 Maple Street, or just a GIS number, right?
Correct. Those plats
Okay.
will reflect that.
Okay. I'm
Does
making a
the
motion.
county GIS get that information also?
Yeah.
Where
I'm
they
sorry,
can,
Mr. Helms, I didn't hear the first part of that.
does the county GIS get that information also, where they can have it on their website?
We
The
will
updated address.
verify that, but yes, I think in the past that has been what happened, but we'll verify that.
Because a lot of people go there to get information like that.
Good point. I'll make a motion to recommend second reading to the full board.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Or,
And-
thank you. Oh,
And on top of that, do you, will we have the remaining suggested neighborhoods at our next facilities meeting?
We'll have that at the June facilities meeting.
So you're saying there's a potential that due to transportation issues, it may not be feasible to realign some of these neighborhoods.
It's the transportation piece is the logistics, and it's a domino effect, Mr. Sides, of how we deliver the kids to a certain school. And it's not necessarily elementary; it could impact the middle and the high. So, like I said, we've got our transportation department. We're sitting down with them tomorrow to go into it in more detail. As I said, they previously reviewed all of them, but the other 9 were a little concerning, so we wanted to dive into a little further.
In other words, we can't just move these neighborhoods around and then all of a sudden find out that, oh my gosh, we've got to have a dedicated bus and driver specifically for this neighborhood because it won't fit in the pattern of every other route that's going. So it makes it a logistics nightmare and it's just not feasible. So that's basically what you're saying the potential could be, correct?
Potentially, yes, but our goal is to make it so that we can make it work, because we know that with our capacities, we need to make these reassignments. So our goal is to have the discussion with transportation that would allow us to reassign these subdivisions.
Because if we can't reassign some, then we have to go back to the demographer and see what the effect will be on the ones we can move. And basically start all over as far as long-term plans for those clusters.
Yes, we need to come up with a plan of how we accommodate the capacity, the projected enrollment increases.
Okay. So best case scenario is you come back to us the next meeting and say, we've got all 9 figured out. It took a little extra work, but we can make it happen without totally disrupting the system or stretching our capacity beyond our school bus driver capacity beyond what it can handle.
Correct.
That's best case, right? We get it all
Correct.
figured out.
Correct.
Okay.
okay. I think we voted on that one already, so we'll
We
move
did.
on to the NCDOT easement request. Mr. McManus?
Yes, thank you. So in front of you, we have a request. NCDOT, it's a pretty straightforward request. The map that you see in front of you is where the new driveway is going to go for Forest Hills High School. So DOT is requesting that easement. Basically, since it's currently in Union County's name for sales tax purposes, Union County is just looking for approval from Facilities Committee to the Board of Education to allow them to sign up and move forward with that DOT easement.
Any questions?
Make a motion to recommend approval to the full board.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0, thank you. Informational items. Welcome, Ms. Heimel, to our facilities meeting. Bond update?
Good morning and thank you. The bond materials are in front of you and we will be happy to discuss or answer any questions as they may arise.
Does anybody have any questions?
Everything is on the timeline, correct?
Yes, Danny or Colin, feel free to jump in, but we are moving forward with the appropriate timeline as it's been laid out.
We go.
Yes, we're on schedule on both projects.
No land, no, by this time we'd know if there are any dirt issues. Material issues or any problems with any subcontractors. Nothing along those lines to report, I assume.
Nothing that we've been made aware of. To answer your first question, we are essentially out of the ground on both projects, and all the underground work has been pretty much completed. So we feel very confident that we're out of the woods, if you will, on potential change orders for unsuitable soils.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay, next we have change orders. Mr. McManus?
Yes, so in front of you, you have a list of change orders. Sorry, I apologize, I just closed my screen. We have one for Parkwood High School roofing, and then there are 3 for the East Elementary bond projects. They're pretty much self-explanatory, but happy to answer any questions.
Where are the basketball goals going at East? I didn't know they were going to have that, but that's exciting.
So I do believe it's a change order for the manual height adjuster for the basketball goals. I think this is for the gymnasium.
Oh, inside. Got it.
Oh, okay. Kitchen equipment,
Any other questions?
utility crossing street over. Utility conflicts crossing street at Elizabeth Avenue. Help me with that.
So basically, a very long story short, the utilities were mapped in one area, one location, and one height. And then upon digging, they're not in that location or that height. So once they were exposed and found, we had to go back to the city once we identified those for basically a small redesign of how to connect sewer and get water through and such. That's the 30,000 foot view of that.
On these East Elementary projects, do we pull that from the contingency on the bond? Is that where we get the change order funding?
Correct. It would be from the, it's not in the contract contingency, but it'd be in the owner contingency that we have. Correct, Mr. Moore?
Yes, that is correct.
Parkwood High roof replacement. That must be, for that little money, that must be a small section of roof.
That is the cafeteria edition back in 06-ish. And it was just missed on the initial because it was shown to have been re-roofed because of where it was the cafeteria, but that's the addition part. So it's a smaller area. So we just wanted it all done. And so we added that into it.
Okay. Thank you.
Surplus, Mr. McManus?
Do you have a few items there listed for surplus? All of these came from our current facility here at 201 Venus Street. They were in what we call the carpenter shop for years they were not being utilized whatsoever. And so we were just wanting to surplus those to get those out of the way so we can have a little bit of room.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, our next meeting date is June 26th at 9 a.m. via Zoom, and I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Thank you for the information.